I should probably think about uploading another video soon. It's the new year after all. But what kind of video? I mean, the numbers don't lie. Most people seem to want more Let's Talk theory, but what subject needs covering? Ugh, I'm not normally this uncertain. I suppose you could say it's out of character for me. Ha! Puns. Get it? Because of the title of this video and stuff? Yeah. I shouldn't be allowed to tell jokes. Who thought it was a good idea to let me loose on the internet anyway? Well, I suppose as you're here, we should talk. When you engage with a form of media, what is one of the things that keeps you going back to it? Replaying that story or rewatching that show you've seen 100 times. Obviously, things like the story do play a part, but it's not the story we're quoting every time our friends mention something remotely related to that show. No, it's the characters we enjoy, seeing how they grow and develop. But even the most complex characters have a basis in Propp's character theory. What is character theory? Well, I'm glad you asked. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk theory. Before films, television and video games, stories were told through, well, stories. Most significantly, folk tales. And after studying them, a man named Vladimir Propp noticed some recurring themes, and thus, character theory was born. Of course, the stories and characters we see nowadays have evolved a lot since then. But often, some of Propp's character theory still shines through, either subtly or obviously. But enough beating around the bush, let's dive right in and find out what these characters are. As we go through these, you'll probably start to go, oh yeah, as they can seem obvious once said, but it's important to be familiar with the correct terms when referencing them, especially if you're looking for those extra marks on your assignment. The first character in this theory is the hero, otherwise known as the protagonist. You know, the main character of any story, the good guy, the one on the big adventure, they save the girl, or the world, or both. I don't really think this character needs any more explanation. I mean, I'm sure you all know plenty of examples of the hero, so no need to go into it anymore. Get off me! Get out of here! I literally said we don't need any more examples. Ugh, can't find the staff these days. To be honest, within this theory, the hero isn't complicated. The theory revolves more around how the other characters interact and their relationships to the hero. So the second character is the villain, or the antagonist. They're always in a constant struggle against the hero, often have intentions of hurting the princess. They regularly cause the events of the story, normally because they desire something that they either have no right to or don't deserve, and they use deceit to obtain it. Next, we have the donor. This character gives something to the hero, a piece of advice, a weapon, a magical item, something that would prove useful on the journey. They might even test the hero before offering it up. This would be like your old man from The Legend of Zelda, or like Obi-Wan in A New Hope. If you're struggling to remember this one, think of it like an organ donor would donate their organs. Once they're dead, obviously. Although this character doesn't have to be dying, I'm realising this is a bad metaphor. Let's move on. Next is the helper character, also referred to as the sidekick. This is your Samwise Genji, Ron Weasley, Miles, Tails, Prower types. They are the person that is there to assist the hero throughout their journey, or in some cases, can be met along the way. Think the characters from The Wizard of Oz, or Timon and Pumbaa in The Lion King. The great thing about this character is it comes in so many shapes and sizes. Sometimes they're comedic, like Timon and Pumbaa. Other times, they're a younger person trying to help and live up to the hero's standards, like Tails. In fairy tales, this role will typically have some kind of magical ability, like Na'vi from The Legend of Zelda. Of course, it wouldn't be a folktale without a princess. We've all seen plenty of those in our film and video game experiences. This damsel in distress that needs saving from danger, which is normally caused by the villain. If it wasn't clear already, typically this character is the victim of the story. This is one of the characters we are seeing less of and gaining more strong, independent female characters, but I cover more of that in my video on representation, which I recommend you take a look at after this video. After this, we have the dispatcher. After the villain strikes, it is the dispatcher that sends the hero on their journey to save the princess and restore the kingdom. This is typically portrayed as an old, wise, bearded man, you know, your Dumbledores, Gandalfs, Obi-Wan. Yes, I know I said he was the donor, and he was. He gives Luke a lightsaber, but he also encourages him to leave home and start the adventure. Characters could be more than one thing, you know. Stop trying to make them fit into one of your small little boxes. Except that's exactly what Propp did for the sake of summarizing this theory. Anyway, finally, we have the false hero, which can also be referred to as the usurper. It's even sometimes referred to as the anti-hero. However, I don't think this is a very useful term, as anti-hero means something very different nowadays. When we talk about anti-heroes, we typically think of characters like Shadow the Hedgehog, Walter White, or Deadpool. They're characters that do some good, but by unconventional methods, and may have some moral ambiguity. This is not what the false hero is. The false hero is someone that pretends to be the hero. They have an ulterior motive to their good deeds, or they take credit for the hero's actions and receive their reward, like trying to marry the princess. So that's the premise of character theory, well, for the most part. You see, Propp was a guy that liked to dabble in multiple theories, so this character theory also linked to some narrative theory. Basically, take the characters he'd observed and finding common narrative structures they were used in, based on how the characters all interacted with each other. If you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say narrative, I recommend you go and look at this video I did on linear and non-linear narratives. I'll just put that up in the corner here for you, if you would just... There! Oh, I swear YouTube's out to get me. Anyway, Propp proposed that there were 31 narrative functions to folktales, which it should be noted are depicted specifically for folktales, and a lot of these have been updated or adapted for most modern pieces. And each of these have a proper term that you should try and learn. However, I'm also going to try and keep it quick, as I'm determined to keep this video to a good length. So, here we go. Absentation, a member of the hero's community or family, leaves to the security of the home environment. This may be the hero themselves or some other relation that the hero must later rescue. This division of the cohesive family injects initial tension into the storyline. This may serve as the hero's introduction, typically portraying them as an ordinary person. Number 2, interdiction. A forbidden command is given to the hero is warned against some kind of action. Number 3, violation of interdiction. The prior rule is violated whether committed by the hero on accident or on purpose, or even by a third party or foe. This generally leads to a negative consequence. The villain enters the story via this event, although not necessarily confronting the hero. They may be a lurking or manipulative presence, or might act against the hero's family in his absence. Number 4, reconnaissance. The villain makes an effort to attain knowledge needed to fulfill their plot. Disguises are often invoked as the villain actively probes for information, perhaps for a valuable item or to abduct someone. They may speak with a family member who innocently divulges a crucial insight. The villain may also seek out the hero in their reconnaissance, perhaps to gauge their strength in response to learning of their special nature. Number 5, delivery. The villain succeeds at recon and gains a lead on their intended victim. Number 6, trickery. The villain attempts to deceive the victim to acquire something valuable. They press further, aiming to con the protagonist and earn their trust. Sometimes the villain makes little or no deception and instead ransoms one valuable thing for another. Number 7, complicity. The victim is fooled or forced to concede and unwittingly or unwillingly helps the villain, who is now free to access somewhere previously off limits, like the privacy of a hero's home or a treasure vault, acting without restraint in their ploy. Number 8, villainy or lacking. The villain harms a family member, including but not limited to abduction, theft, spoiling crops, plundering, banishment or expulsion of one of the protagonists, murder, threatening a forced marriage, inflicting nightly torment, and so on. Simultaneously or alternatively, the protagonist finds they desire or require something lacking from their home environment, potions, artifacts, etc. The villain may still be indirectly involved, perhaps fooling a family member into believing they need such an item. Number 9, mediation. One or more of the negative factors covered above comes to the attention of the hero, who uncovers the deceit or learns of the villainous acts that have transpired. Number 10, beginning counteraction. The hero considers ways to resolve the issues by seeking a needed magical item, rescuing those who are captured, or otherwise thwart the villain. This is a defining moment for the hero, one that shapes their further actions and marks the point when they begin to fit their role as the hero. Number 11, departure. The hero leaves the home environment, this time with a sense of purpose. Here begins their adventure. Number 12, first function of the donor. The hero encounters a magical agent or helper, the donor, on their path, and is tested in some manner through interrogation, combat, puzzles, or more. Number 13, hero's reaction. The hero responds to the actions of their future donor, perhaps withstanding the rigors of a test and or failing in some manner, freeing a captive, reconciling disputing parties, or otherwise performing a good service. This may also be the first time the hero comes to understand the villain's skills and power, and uses them for good. Number 14, the receipt of a magical agent. The hero acquires a magical agent as a consequence of their good actions. This may be a directly acquired item, something located after navigating a tough environment, a good purchase or bartered with a hard-earned resource, or fashioned from parts and ingredients prepared by the hero, spontaneously summoned from another world, or magical food that is consumed. Number 15, guidance. The hero is transferred, delivered, or somehow led to a vital location, perhaps related to one of the above functions, such as the home of the donor, or the location of a magical agent or its parts, or to the villain. Number 16, the struggle. The hero and villain meet and engage in a conflict directly, either in battle or some nature of contest. Number 17, branding. The hero is marked in some manner, perhaps receiving a distinctive scar or granted a cosmetic item like a ring or scarf. Number 18, victory. The villain is defeated by the hero, killed in combat, outperformed in a contest, struck where vulnerable, banished, and so on. Number 19, liquidation. The earlier misfortunes or issues of the story are resolved. The object of search is distributed, spells are broken, captives freed. Number 20, return. The hero travels back to their home. Number 21, pursuit. The hero is pursued by some threatening adversary who perhaps seeks to capture or eat them. Number 22, rescue. The hero is saved from a chase. Something may act as an obstacle to delay the pursuer, or the hero may find or be shown a way to hide, up to and including transformation unrecognizably. The hero's life may be saved by another. Number 23, unrecognized arrival. The hero arrives whether in a location along their journey or in their destination and is unrecognized or unacknowledged. Number 24, unfounded claims. A false hero presents unfounded claims or performs some other form of deceit. This may be the villain, one of the villain's underlings, or an unrelated party. It may even be some form of future donor to the hero once they face their actions. Number 25, difficult task. A trial is proposed to the hero, riddles, tests of strength or endurance, acrobatics, or other ordeals. Number 26, solution. The hero accomplishes the difficult task. Number 27, recognition. The hero is given due recognition, usually by means of their prior branding. Number 28, exposure. The false hero and or villain is exposed to all. Number 29, transfiguration. The hero gains a new appearance. This may reflect aging and all the benefits of labour and health, or it may constitute a magical remembering of the limb or digit that was lost as part of the branding or failing a trial. Regardless, it serves to improve their looks. Number 30, punishment. The villain suffers the consequences of their actions, perhaps at the hand of the hero and avenged victims, or as a direct result of their own ploy. Number 31, the wedding. The hero marries and is rewarded or promoted by the family or community, typically ascending to a throne. And that is it. I am done with this theory. Just give me a minute. Woo-wee. But this is really it for character theory. Sure, things have developed over time, which is always something to keep in mind. And there are a few variations for different genres, but on the whole, this is it. So just take it all in. One of the things you'll realise is that character selection is hugely important, as it will not only affect your dialogue, but the narrative plot points used along the way, as shown by Propp's functions. Different characters relate to each other in different ways, and may move the story in a different direction. For example, the false hero may reveal themselves earlier and pretend to be the helper, which will massively change how the story plays out later on. My piece of advice for this episode: have a look at your story. What characters have you already got involved? Do they fit into any of these character types mentioned in Propp's theory? Would your story benefit from maybe adding another one of these types to help move the plot along? If your story doesn't contain any of these types, that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with not using them, but they can be a useful guide when starting out or if you get stuck. Sometimes the genre doesn't fit with Propp's functions, particularly with continuously ongoing stories like TV shows. But regardless of whether your story uses these types or not, make sure you think about characters. How do they interact with each other? Are they consistent? The reason Propp found these narrative functions is because characters were consistent. Evolving, sure, but there was never an unfounded explanation for their actions. If you thought this was helpful, give this video a like, and if you'd like more videos like this, I would suggest subscribing to the channel. It's a new year, and I do plan to upload more as the year goes on. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to talking theory with you again very soon. Ta-ta for now!